Barry Squibb on the inside of the front row of the grid as this heat gets underway, and a cracking start from the man from Torquay. He rockets away with John Moloney's Ford Escort tucking in there in second place as they climb uphill for the first time. They go through School Corner and then into the right-hander of Abbott. A short burst of acceleration, and the two Ford Escorts nose to tail as they leave the smooth tarmac and plunge downhill. John Cross there is the white Ford Fiesta making contact as he lunges down through this very tight and twisty part of the circuit, bouncing off the side of Steve Munday's car, but Barry Squibb leads from John Moloney in second place. John Cross with the turbocharged four-wheel drive Ford Fiesta is in third, and former BTRDA champion Steve Munday is fourth. There is John Cross in the autocross backed car through the tight hairpin and then onto the tarmac once more with Mike Bourner there in the Porsche going through. And John Sampson's new look Rover 200 also in the list as well. Now there is the race leader Barry Squibb sliding the car through absolutely on the limit as John Moloney clips the curb, and off goes John Cross. John Cross slithers off onto the grass, and that is in effect this heat over and done with for John. He's going to lose too much time even if he can rejoin. John Moloney in the meantime is a fairly safe second, but don't forget it's not necessarily the race position that the drivers are concerned with, it's the fastest time possible. Points for this game. On the A, B finals across the loose comes Steve Munday number 106, and the two Ford Escorts are closing up. Look, John Moloney catching up with Barry Squibb as they make their way downhill, heading to the hairpin. John Moloney, after a fairly torrid season so far, catching up to Squibb, but it's too late. Barry Squibb wins the heat from John Moloney second, and third across the line is Steve Munday.
Tony, it's nice to see a new Division 1 supercar out in action. Tell me something about the car.
Well, originally it started as a road-going vehicle. It was a brand new 1300 car. We stripped it down to a bare shell and sent it down to Will Gollop, down at J-Tech. Had a lot of help from Toyota Team Europe. They've supplied all the main components other than the engine. And at the moment we run basically a Group N engine. It's got a different turbocharger on, a different exhaust manifold, but basically it's still a Group N engine. We're limited to about 7,500 revs. It's enough to learn how to drive it, you know. Totally different to my Group N car. It's a little bit brutal.
And now we're on board with Tony Bell in this new Toyota. The engine notes rise, you're looking at the blue Metro in the hands of Lawrence Gibson. On pole position though is the demon Dermot Carnegie, who makes a great start, and Tony Bell with his all-new Toyota tucks up there behind Andy Grant's Ford Escort. He tries to go around the outside of him. It's a brave manoeuvre. Is it going to work? On board with Bell still as he swings through Abbott's. Sets off now towards the hairpin. Lawrence Gibson locks up, clips the back of Helmut Holfeld's Peugeot, which gets sideways, and Dermot Carnegie leads. Holfeld second, and we're side by side with Gibson coming down the hill. Maybe a brand new car for Tony Bell, but he's being driven extremely hard, isn't it? Across the loose, the dust being kicked up into his face, and Tony Bell sawing away at the wheel. Ahead of him is Lawrence Gibson in the blue Metro 6R4, and you can see just how hard a driver has to work inside a Rallycross car. Tony Bell working very, very hard indeed, plunging downhill across the loose, very, very bumpy indeed. The driver getting shaken around, and now up through the gears. He's losing touch though with Lawrence Gibson ahead. There's a lot of smoke though from Gibson's car. Gibson goes off. Lawrence Gibson goes off. Now, was that him locking up or was it a mechanical problem? Meantime, Dermot Carnegie leads. There in second place is Helmut Holfield in the ex-Will Gollop Peugeot. Look at the back of the car flapping around there, possibly as a result of the contact on lap one between him and Lawrence Gibson. Helmut Holfield plunges downhill, and now third and a little bit lonely is Tony Bell. Bit of understeer there as he hits one of the ruts and bounces wide. The car, as he said, built to new World Championship regulations. Dermot Carnegie with a Ford Escort comes up across the line and takes the checkered flag. A win for Dermot Carnegie, Helmut Holfeld second, and Tony Bell is going to give the new Toyota Corolla third, and it's maiden outing. He must be fairly pleased with that, with coming through for fourth, the 6R4 behind him. And these the cars then lined up, ready to go in Division 5. We're on board with Tanya Jeffrey as the lights hit green. Away they go. Now let's see what sort of a start she makes as the cars have to climb uphill. There to the right is the black Peugeot in the hands of Simon Bales. And as ever, the front-wheel drive car's having a great scrap, although sadly Tanya Jeffrey drops to the back of the field. Somebody goes off there. It looks like Des Wheatley's Metro, number 5 to 8. He bounces his way back onto the circuit. Simon Bales runs wide in the Peugeot. Diving through the middle of them there in 522 is Russell Crampton. And somewhere in all the dust are the rest of them. The mighty Minis, though, come down the hill for the first time, with Mark Kay leading, and a great variety of lines being shown further back. Somebody in trouble, though. Richard Irwin's Metro slows right down, as up front it's Mark Kay in the lead with second, the former Mini-Cross star, Richard Wakeling. Down the hill they slide. Mark Kay runs a little bit wide. Russell Crampton goes even wider there. Simon Bales' Peugeot up behind him as across the line. Nose to tail come Mark Kay and Richard Wakeling. The rest of the field field file their way through. It looks as though the Metro, which we saw in trouble, that of Richard Irwin, picked up speed once again. Mark Toomey goes through in the Suzuki Swift, and we're back on board with Tanya Jeffrey at the back end of the field, trying to close on the Suzuki Swift. And it looks as though she's doing it, going uphill. There, though, is Richard Wakeling, still all over the back of Mark Kay, trying to snatch the lead away from him. And Russell Crampton on the limit in third place in the yellow and red mini. Downhill they go. Mark Kay pulling away a little bit now as Wakeling runs wide and Russell Crampton gets right onto his tail and through he goes. And now has Wakeling got a problem? Let's see. It looks as though he's fighting back as the cars come towards us. Race leader Mark Kay in the green and white mini goes downhill, brakes, hops his way into the corner. Crampton goes second, Wakeling third, and there's contact between him and Simon Bales. Bales hits the tyres. Now, is Simon going to be able to rejoin? He's done a fair bit of damage to the front of that previously immaculate 106. He's able now to rejoin as Mark Kay continues towards us, heading to the hairpin. The hard-charging Russell Crampton behind him is going great guns now, pulling away from Richard Wakeling and closing on the leader. And this the view once more from Tanya Jeffrey's car. Now she's losing touch with the Suzuki. Has she got a problem? Let's just see as she turns through Abbott's and sets off towards the hairpin. The car doesn't sound as though it's being driven at maximum pace, does it? Kay, Crampton and Wakeling, the three minis, nose to tail as they come downhill to the hairpin. Is Mark Kay going to hang on to win the heat? Up towards the line he comes. There's the checkered flag. A win for Mark Kay from Russell Crampton second and Richard Wakeling third. Spectators trying to keep themselves warm. Division 4 cars lined up ready to go. We're looking out of the back window and Mike Turpin's Vauxhall as the lights go to green and away they go. And as is tradition in Division 4, Mike Turpin rockets away. He really has been very dominant indeed this season, and just look at the way after a couple of corners he's romping away from the rest of them. The yellow Nova leading the similar car of Dave. Well, there's contact there, look, cars going all over the place as they come to the hairpin. Now let's try and work out how that has affected the order. 4-2-1 in trouble is Keith Bradley. It looks as though his car was briefly entangled there with Trevor Gamble, who reverses out, he carries on. But there is a far from amused Keith Bradley. He's going to be able to rejoin. No, he's not, because it looks like he's got broken suspension. And here is a replay. Look, he's up onto two wheels, clobbers the side of Trevor Gamble's car, and that is a big impact. Here is the race leader, though, Mike Turpin, who, when he looks at the pictures of all of this, will think, so that's how I got such a big lead. And there is the checkered flag, a win for Mike Turpin, with Dave Ward coming home in second place in the Corsa.